Howdy, howdy, this is Blue Otter. Today we are looking at Timberborn. I am mostly going to be trying to go through this as quickly as possible, but I just want to kind of give everything a chance to completely build out that I currently have. And give everything a chance to, yeah, just build. So what I'm going to do is just kind of give my thoughts and analysis going back after the fact. That fountain was initially, I had it on a platform, and then someone commented, hey, because I showed a quick sneak peek to a few friends of mine, and someone said, hey, that fountain needs to be in water. So I'm like, okay, so I got to move it into the water reservoir because where else do I have to put water? I was also working on conserving because I had food and population issues that were a constant balancing act between food, population, and workforce, and I never had a shortage of workforce because I always had more beavers than I had available jobs. And one of the things that I would look forward to is in update 7, where I would be able to actually do the 3-dimensional terrain and be able to plant on top of. So that way I would have been able to have vertical farms. I would have been able to probably have everything into the lower quadrant with the water. If I were looking back on this, I would have probably kept the reservoir, the lower level, kept that as trees, done lifts to actually have an aqueduct at about 3 levels above, or the 3 steps above, which is what the oak trees have. So that would have helped with producing just at least a few more trees. I probably would have had another crop of this. The trees just it's a constant issue of me waiting for more trees. I do come up with an equitable solution for that later on. And I come in and I do start building this little under level area, and it takes a little bit of getting used to because I'm having to nitpick it around the above level. But this is builder huts, and I'll eventually have hauling posts in there. I'll replace some of the builder huts with hauling posts. But that's going to take a little bit because I'm waiting on metal blocks. Between metal blocks and logs, that was a constant wait until it wasn't. And suddenly it's like I turned a leaf and it happened. So it's definitely something that was an ongoing issue. And for the most part, I kept it like this, figuring it was kind of a nice thing that you could kind of see from a bird's eye perspective of it building. But a lot of it was just a matter of you're sitting there waiting and watching it, and it's doing absolutely nothing. And sometimes I would go through into the perspective mode and just go in. Here I am having to fix out the aqueduct because it wasn't quite draining like it was supposed to. It was over draining. And in that little area, I replaced one of the levees with a floodgate, and I used a mod called automation that meant that it automatically would go up or down based off of the seasons. Here's where I'm having to fix the sluice on this because I realized that it wasn't quite, it was going down, and it was actually ruining some of the trees, so I couldn't do some of the trees. And that was a constant area where I was constantly trying to go around and and find some different areas. And I'm just now thinking of on my tour if I actually stop by that mud thing that I put in. Here I'm expanding the... I was going to put something here, but then I realized I really needed more housing. So I did go ahead and put in some additional housing. And I just decided initially on just those 2 rows. I'm trying to balance between what I know I need now and what I'm going to need in the future. Because right here, I was starting to hover with just a few homeless beavers here and there. And then I'm trying to add additional storage for the aquatic plants. Because I have over here, I start with some the bot builders because I would like to have bots again. As much as I love them, they are a pain. I'm finally clearing out the rest of the aquatic area, the aquatic side, and I'm putting in some side aquatic farmhouses and trying to find how far can I put in those balanced against the windmills, because the windmills have a certain area that you have to build around. So for the most part, I tried to keep it as still as possible. Usually just going in and tinkering with stuff here and there. And this was one of the reasons why I did this as a time lapse, was because I realized that I made a little side passage there, so it was underneath. I realized that as much fun as I have with this, after so many episodes, it does get to be a little draining to view, because you're like, okay, but what have you really done? To give you a perspective of this video, the video lasts for a little under 110, an hour and 10 minutes. So that's what, under 70 minutes ish. This time lapse is at 25 times the speed, and this consists of approximately 17 and a half hours building off and on for a few weeks. And I thought, well, what if I go through and I make here I'm making another little patch where I can have some additional power, because I'm trying to have as much power as possible. I will have to go back in and adjust it, because not all of that will build correctly, because they will build something and then not be able to build the underneath portion of it. But they typically, whenever I build those platforms, they're able to build an initial part. Here I decided that maybe I could have some batteries, and then that would, because I have a nice little height there. And maybe if I built some batteries, I could store some of that power, and then just trying to make it as efficient as possible to install and put up. And then I was checking their happiness. I managed to squeeze a mud pit in there in the industrial area, figuring that, you know, those those beavers, after a long day, they might want to relax themselves in a nice little mud pit. And even though the resource icons, it's like part of me wants to have them up, but part of me also is like, but I need to know, you know, how much do I have of everything. And I really love that about the UI for Timberborn, because it's always adjusting. If you don't have any of a resource, it's not there, but if you do have it, it's there, and it'll tell you how much you have. Now I believe that number registers how many are physically in storage areas. Now in here, I was able to get quite a lot of food. I think I capped out somewhere around the lower 30,000s worth of food. But at a certain point, it just becomes, the population just becomes unstable, and they either, I swear, the unemployed beavers are like just eating through food, and that's all they're doing. So there, I'm trying to move the farmhouses off because I removed the metal workshops. I moved them from there over to the new industrial section. I have 4 explosive factories, but honestly, I don't need more than the 1. So I will eventually get rid of those 3. And I loved the fact that we had the dance hall again. We will eventually have another dance hall, just because I think it's cute. And you can see that we are starting to build more housing on top of the existing housing. Going forward, as much as I love the ladder mod, I really felt that it was, in some ways, it was kind of cheating, because I was able to, like, I was really able to condense. But on the other hand, in a map that's this small, it just became a matter of necessity to save as much space as possible. And I am very thankful that I had the open side there with the bakeries, because I will eventually be needing to go in and adjust those on the fly. So here I am making additional pathways and adding like hauler huts, so that way I can have even more. So building pathways across, just because I can't really build on the ground, but I realized, you know, I wanted to have a pathway over here, and I was trying to get this earth, I believe it's earth rejuvenator, earth renovator thing. It was really kind of the pinnacle of design, and that was what I really wanted this episode to focus on, was really this long play to get there. And aside from a few notable events, I just felt like everything could be sped up and y'all would get more out of this. If anybody would like to see the full playthrough, let me know. And I can certainly try. It'll probably have to be in parts, because like I said, it is 17.5 hours and the cap on YouTube videos is 12 hours. Believe me, I know, because I had to shave off, I believe it was like 5 seconds on my complete playthrough for Crypt Custodian, because it was like just a little bit too much. There's that the second mud pit that I put in, and then whenever I put the mud pit in, I put like a little small storage unit for the dirt, so that way they can have dirt there, because the mud pit does include dirt. There's where I just swapped out for some builders for the hauling huts, and I also rearranged some of the pathways there. That there are these aerial walkways, and it allows you to go from one to the other. This is where I'm also trying to really conserve as much as I can, and at one point I go through and I'm like, okay, anything that is using wood, because at this point I'm losing food. I'm down to like 8.5. I was up to like almost 30k. Now I'm down to like 8k. So I'm like, I really need to figure this out. And so I needed to turn off everything that didn't use logs and conserve as many logs as I could to try to get it where I was having more than just like 1 or 2 or 3. And I thought I had turned everything off, and I actually found that I forgot that I had lumber mills on, and they were using up so many logs. So once I turned those off, you'll be able to see that the supply of logs just absolutely skyrockets. And by skyrockets, I mean more than just 1 or 2. Yeah, because here's my my food stores are still going down. I believe it's at like 7 something. I'm watching it on like a much smaller screen through my recording software. And then sometimes it would go back up, but then it would go back down because they eat. And I had to, a lot of it is you're having to troubleshoot. And one of the things I like about these resource management games is you really have to troubleshoot on the fly. And sometimes you're having to fix a whole bunch of moving parts as they're going through. Especially unless you want to just sit and like pause the game, and I was really loath to do that because there I am having to fix that aqueduct again. That was just an additional storage. I never really got it balanced right. Here's where I'm checking all the trees because I'm like, why I have it. I was like, I thought I had everything turned off. And I had the lumber mills on, and you can see now my wood is just my wood production is going up. I'm actually starting to get stores of wood, which is fantastic. So my plan was just kind of like to run it through there. I'm fixing the wheels that I was talking about earlier. So my plan was to kind of stockpile wood and then go through and do like one industry at a time. So stockpile as much wood as possible, convert that all to planks, then stockpile as much wood as possible while I'm doing something else with those planks. And then while I'm stockpiling, so wood's always going to be a consistent, but then I might be doing gears, or I might be doing treated planks or something. But that is where, when I started being able to get that back up, my food store started going back up and going back on the rise. So I realized it's all about balancing, which is again, fantastic. And here's again where I'm balancing, because I don't really have the level of potatoes that I need, but I did have a ton of cattail roots and wheat, and I could be converting those. So instead of having grills, I replaced the grills with bakeries. There's the mud pit. I think I took a screenshot of it too, because they were being too cute. And that was the here I was also trying to refix the pantry, and here I decided I wanted more paths, because I wanted to be able to have it where no matter where you were always going to be able to cross link to another path. And I'm readjusting what everything is. And I will go through and take out those maple stores, because the maple pastries, as much fun as I think it would be to have the maple pastries and offer it as a variety source, it also wasn't really practical because I just couldn't make enough of it. So here I'm trying to make something, but nothing. I don't really like what I've created, so I end up just taking it out. But I will end up replacing that line of maple trees with more pine trees so that I can get more pine resin, because even though the maple pastries aren't as prevalent or as usable, at least from my experience, it is something that I would like to work on in future maps. The pine resin is heavily used, especially in the treated pines or the treated planks. So I definitely wanted to get those ready. And I was amazed how fast those large platforms go in, especially when you consider the fact that those large platforms are 90 metal blocks. And it would just be a matter that you would look down and look back up and suddenly it's there. And this was trying to get something that was fun. I believe this is another modded item. This is the Ferris wheel. I did manage to get the carousel back. And then this is where they were starting to actually build that earth renovator. Where they've got the floor of it built. And I was trying, and sometimes I have to keep readjusting the angle just so it will either hit the light right, or I've had to adjust it because I've looked at something specifically. Okay, so like I said, I had to record this over multiple episodes. So one day when I recorded it, I actually had the game crashed, and that was due to the mods. So I had to go in, I had to try a few times with removing mods. There's a few mods that I absolutely refuse to remove. The first one being the ladder mod, because so much of my design here is built around utilization of that ladder, that if I did not have the ladder, the game is broken. And at that point I was like, what do I do? Because I don't have it finished, and I was panicking, but then I tried it and I uninstalled a few other mods and I was able to get it. The other one that I really wanted to keep was the Name a Beaver mod, just because I really liked the beaver names that I had picked out. I got to have several friends inserted in, and one of my friends, Hacksar, who also plays Timberborn, he has his 3 dogs that you've probably seen. I know Willow is very prominent in here. I had one time I had like a whole screen of willows. And so he has Willow, Nala, and Hazel. So if you see any of those, they are usually colored in yellow. And then my friend, controller Cassie, shows up a few times in her kind of a lilac lavender image. So you can also see their names come up. The bright blue ones were actually suggested by a commenter from a previous video that suggested a few names. So yeah, and I have 4 observatories. No, sorry, 5. I can count. 5 observatories. And I kind of had cut off the science because I didn't really need it so much. But then when it came time to build the Earth Renovator, Rejuvenator, I needed 20,000 and I only had like 11. So I was like, okay, I need to go get more. So I built those observatories up there in the corner that are just kind of like looking all around. But they also require power, which was a feat to get the power cables or the power logs up there. And at this point, I have gone over 1,000 beavers. It is ridiculous, especially considering the high unemployment rate of beavers that I just didn't have any use. I didn't really have any use for. What I would have loved to have had, and I'm hoping that they might be able to institute this in a future version of, or future update of Timberborn, is to be able to have shift work. So you could say have, say in the mines. Now if you have bots run 24/7, it doesn't matter. But I would have loved to have had, say, in the mines, or say the bakeries, or the collectively the wheels, be able to say, I want them to do a 8-hour shift or a 12-hour shift, and what they want to do for the other 12 hours of the day, that's their free time. But then I could have 24-hour production use of those items. Here I'm trying to get some more of those little shower things in, and I wasn't quite able to get them to work right there. So I took them back out. I will replace them later and get them working, at least most of them. Here I'm having to add more housing because I am starting to run very low on beavers and beaver housing, and I'm able to make some connections so that they can go back and forth very easily between them. So getting back to shift work, being able to have, say, I know like farms, you're really based off of the crop, but things that are like bakeries, haulers, builders, anything that deals with factories, you could turn them into shift work. I mean, even like observatories, things like that. You could easily turn them into something where you could say, okay, how many shifts in a day do you want? 1, 2, 3, or 4. And it just kind of divides it. Instead of giving it that, it's like you have how many shifts do you want? How many hours do you want each shift to have? You want it to be equidistant or whatever. And then that way you could potentially have one. So here I'm adding more housing as well as some extra pathways. And I'm doing this under the Rejuvenator. Renovator, Rejuvenator, I forget which one it's something like that. And then I was like, at this point, I was like, okay, I've got a whole lot of flour, so I could build some bakeries. That's what my plan was to build some bakeries. There, I've got some extra showers put in. I will end up taking the center one out because the path underneath was the issue, and it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't work because it wasn't drawing water like it was supposed to. And if you feel like you can't really see anything, don't worry about it, because I do go through a bit more of a tour. About the last third of this video is a walking tour where I take the POV camera. That staggered water pumps is probably, of everything I built in this build, that was probably my favorite thing. That was a friend of mine, Mothic, who made a suggestion about that, and I was like, oh, I bet I could use that. And that came in so clutch, because it meant that it didn't matter what level that reservoir was at, it was always able to pump water. And I was able to do it because I think those pumps only go down 4 deep. I think Iron Teeth go down 6. But with this, I was never out of water. I mean, I pretty much, honestly, until like the very end, I think I managed to maintain that over 20,000 units of water, which is pretty phenomenal when all things are said. The only thing that I would, if I were going back and doing it a different way, is I would actually keep the ground beneath it, lift it up on stilts, have a floor, waterproof the floor, and actually build the reservoir up higher. And then having that little overflow section to really keep the bad water out of my reservoir, because that just became absolutely critical. One of the things that I did like is that the Earth Renovator also goes through and it changes. So when you have the base floor put in, it will look like where it's just the foundation. And then here is about the 25% built. And it will upgrade again at the 50% and 75% and 100%. And I really like that, because that is such a huge item. It like has it's where I'm trying to fiddle with that aqueduct, because this is like got like, it's got like 2,000 gears, 1,500 planks, or 1,500 metal blocks, and like another 2,000 treated planks, gears, and metal blocks, and it's in the thousands of items needed. So it's very clearly, it's a late game item. It is kind of, when you have that is the success point, and that was a really neat moment of going through, and it gives you that real big sense of accomplishment as well. I'm going through and readjusting because I'm thinking, okay, maybe I need more grills, because I was running low on food, and I did realize that I had all the spouter dock that I had saved, because I was trying to do that for my robots, and I do have a handful of robots. I'm really not able to keep them, and I wasn't really sure why I was having trouble with them, because it seemed like I could get them to work, but then they never went in for repair. They never went in for their oil or anything. And I know like in Iron Teeth, I believe they have like a recharge station, and I just couldn't figure out how to keep them so that they could be repaired. My experience with the bots was that, you know, you build them and it's just however long they last, and they just have too steep of a cost for something that you're maybe going to get, you know, a couple weeks, maybe a month out of usage of it. This might be when I was trying to get it went over to the next stage, and then I didn't really watch it too much, but it did flip over to the next level. So now it's at 50%, I believe. And then I'm going through and I'm making that solid platform, which I will replace in and out. No, sorry, it's at 75% now. So I will replace that platform first with treated planks. I'll later go in and it's kind of like whatever I need it to be, which I may or may not recommend doing, especially depending on the difficulty level settings that you do. I have a pretty generous return rate on items, but I believe at least in the customization, you can also make it where like you only get like 10% back or 50% back, or you make it where you get like 100% back, so you never lose materials when you drop things. I don't remember what the exact return rate that I got back on items, but I do know that I think this was pretty much the straight casual relaxed mode. The only exception that I did was I started with, I think, a few more beavers and like 100 more water. I think that was all I started with, and that doesn't really matter because those beavers are long gone, and I have I've gone out of water at least once. Here I am. I'm adding some of the aquatic things. I meant to go back and take out the other aquatic, but I don't think I ever did that. I don't think I ever checked on that aquatic thing when I put it in. But you can see it's like I've got everything is crisscrossed and everything. And all the little dots you can see are that my beavers are starving. They are not getting enough food to eat, and that's really cool with the batteries going up and down. But the batteries are nice because they do kind of give that little extra bit to keep the energy constant. There I was putting some refineries in because I was like, do I need to keep handling the bots? I'm down to 6. And then I think I decided I don't need 2. I'm just gonna have just the 1 to try to keep some of the refinery about, but ultimately my beaver bots do not go, or they do not last and here they're making some final touches. This is just a matter of piecing everything together. There's the treated planks just waiting on stuff to be installed. At one point I was like all excited because I was like, okay, it's gonna happen, and then it ticked over to 1900, so I was like, yeah, I missed. Okay, so we've got all the parts. Those are a lot of beavers. I meant to count them, but I was losing count very easily. And there is the rejuvenator is done. It is completed, but then I still need more parts because I needed, I believe, paper and extract to produce the seeds. So then I'm going through and I'm like, okay, I need paper. So then I'm going through and making paper mills. I had punch cards. I don't know what the punch cards and books are for, but I have punch cards and books. And now we're going to go into a tour before we go into the final. Okay, so while we wait, we've got the last little bit. I've actually gone through some of our water. While we wait for our last little bit that we're going to be doing in this series, we've had a couple of things that we've had to go through and build and take down. We're working on the Earth Recultivator. Distributes tree seeds across the earth. When launched, makes the beavers in the area extra happy, making it the pinnacle of beaver engineering. We're waiting for paper and extract to be created. They're working through it as fast as they can. Here they're getting the bad water logs. We have plenty of logs. What we don't have a lot of is food. So what I'm going to do is the thing that I would like to do is while we wait, I would kind of like to be able to do a little bit of a tour. Trying to see if there's anything I can do. All right, so we're going to grab this. This will put us into our slow mode. So let's look about right here. So I just figured it would be nice to kind of see from a perspective what these look like. As much as I like the ladder, I think in future I probably would not use them. I think I can go over. Can I jump? I can jump. That's kind of scary. We have so much. And there for a while, a lot of this was, there's all of the wheels. Just gotta make sure I don't go off the map. We go through? Down? No. Okay, we'll just have to go over here. And okay, now we're in the water. Trying to go up that route. We do have some contemplation spots, so let's back out of there. And let's see if I can't find one of these contemplation spots. Right about here. Maybe. No, that is not where I was trying to go. Okay, let's see. Let's try one more time. Oh, there we go. We can just do this one. It's not wanting me to go closer. But there is a little contemplation spot. There we are. So we come over here. There's the little beaver. You can just kind of see all the different fields. Now I did have to cover this up. Now this was a new establishment that we had to do because I needed to supplement the food, and I had a whole bunch of spatterdock that I was going to be able to utilize. That almost went through. So we also had right down here. So that goes down to the reservoir that we built. There's huge stores. And let's see. Oh, and there's the recultivator. And there's farmhouses. There's the Lido deck. More food. They're just so busy. Busy little beavers. Yeah, and then I've got these. This was really cool to be able to have that architecture of going through of just everything as vertical as I can make it. Speaking of vertical, one thing was, and some of this I can't do because I've got, we're gonna speed this up while I'm got it here. We have these, that it was good while it lasted. Honestly, if I was able to do right now what would be the experimental 7th update that would have allowed me to have the 3D terrain that I could have then built on, I could have had basically infinite food stores and trees, which trees were the main thing that was holding me back. But I could be able to grow way more. One thing I would like to do is, if we come on back over here, then we'll go back and look at that. So these are the batteries over here. We needed to have more food, so I did that. They've also got little hedges. And we have right here. Yeah, I needed more housing. And we come over here and we can ride in the little Ferris wheel. This is a mod. This is a modded item. Yeah, so many houses. Let's see. Okay, so over here I had to do some more haulers. We're going to do a little jump down. And then we've also got more haulers. Jump in here. Got some little square dancing, little dance hall going on. Look at that. And then we've also got a couple. I saw someone has it. There it is. Where they could do the they left. They could do the tail stamping. And I would try to get my logo on there, but I didn't really have time. That's okay. What is that? Oh, that. Oh, these are the observatories. Okay. Let's come back over here. We're gonna go over to the dance hall. Going this way. Did I jump off? No. Okay, where am I on? Oh, I'm on the observatory. Okay. So there's one dance hall. Empty right now. There is the little beaver family. Oh, here's the little stampers. So they come in here. They'd have little stamp. You can set your own design. I just did designs that were available. And there's the... And then we have a little bit of some medical beds here. So if they do need some stuff. Oh, we're having that. So then each one of we can come over here. This is what each one of the levels of the granary where they're storing food. All the water, big water vats, lot of cooking. And we had some windmills, so we could do grills over here, grist mills, so we could grind up different things. And I was able to successfully get everything connected. So there's our industrial section. Here is, yeah, it's even got some water. Kind of had a little struggle with this of keeping it where it was going to maintain the depth. We've got some beaver showers over there. And we did get, I know I was so sad when I had to take this out. We were able to get the carousel back in. Okay. When they have their tails up like that and they've got the little patterns on them, they look like Care Bears. Okay. And then over here you can't really see it too well, but there's some of the centrifuge and the bad water dispenser. And then we have more builder huts. We have a little, and then I had to have so many builder huts. Probably don't need to have them now, but and then haulers. I had to have a lot of haulers. Oh, here's one of the under the water. Come out and then you see this forest. Where are we? There we are. I wonder if we can jump our way up the ladder. That's going to be a negative. Okay. Oh, here's where we have some of our tapper huts. This comes back around. This was me trying to get my farming up and off of this fertile area. And then I needed some paper mills, so obviously I have some paper mills going, and I need to check to make sure that they're working. Some stuff there. Let's go check on those paper mills. While we speed things up. Okay, why? Okay, now you're going. Okay, person must have just been on break. And we haven't really been able to store any paper, really. Yeah, population is going down, but it's also ironically maintaining a bit. Okay, so we're still working on getting extract, and we're almost halfway there with the paper. And it's really late at the time I'm recording this. But I actually, when I went to play this game, there's all the logs that we've got. When I went in there, and then there's our builder huts. Let's go back up here and do. So here we went and had this. I actually had the game crash on me. Which I don't blame the game. I had a lot of mods. So there's, I guess, for potatoes, and can't see. But this is a really cool mod that allows you to kind of be able to see around. There's the forester hut. That was that little area. There is this. Now, this was an area that I was really curious as to how it would work. Because obviously you can't go lower than the base, but that's interesting how you still have that dirt cloud going through. And then this has got the windmills by themselves that are going. That's helping to power that. Now, this is one that I was pretty proud of. So going and following this, I'm going to try to not dive off the edge. So I've got this one floodgate, and it is designed to be open during the wet season. It closes during dry season, so that way and then when we have the bad tides, it also automatically closes. And that is through an automation mod. Otherwise, you see we've got some sluices that can control the water. So even during bad tide, we can still have water go through, just not as much. And then that's obviously where the water's like. How gorgeous that water is. Water is so difficult to animate, and the devs did a great job of that. So they were transporting water. So here are... Oh, there's all of them. Okay. So this is... I need to be really careful on that edge. So this is kind of our watering hole. And so one of the things with this is this was a really cool design. Let's see if we can get out to the thing. So if we look in, hopefully you don't have... See kind of that next one down. And what it is each one of these, there's one so that way we can have, it can go down pretty deep. And at the same time, there's our little fountain. Okay, hold on. We're gonna go up here real quick. Because I do want to go across this bridge. Okay. So there is our fountain. This is little bridge. Really cute. That was it. That was all I wanted to do. Where is... Okay. We go down here. And you come down here, and then we've got another sluice here that goes and fills in that reservoir that's over there. And did I... Hold up. There we go. All right, back to where we were. Okay. We come back over here, and one of the things that I wanted was I wanted to have all of the monuments, and this one was a big one. So, but I had to have it up. I initially was like, yeah, I'm gonna have this. I have it over here, and someone saw a sneak preview of it, and they're like, yeah, but it has to have water access. Dang it. Okay, so I actually ended up putting it. We come over here. It is there we are. It is actually, I could probably take off this thing. We're actually on a platform. Eventually, there we go. And you can kind of see, there we go. You can kind of see the level that we had to go through. Let's come back over here. There we go. So now we're actually underwater. Let's come back over here. It's really interesting because these are basically all levees, actually. Now in real water, we wouldn't be able to see this crystal clear, but you can see the waterfall over there. I was really sad that I had to get rid of that bridge that I had. That was really kind of cool. But you can have up top, you have that first set that we walked past, and then you have this other set, and then you have another set and another set. So no matter where the water level is at, you always are going to be able to continue to draw water, which is fantastic when you are really low. You really need water, because otherwise you'd only be able to go down so far. And then this is the base. Here's the waterfall that's coming down. I am not going to be able to get up off of this because I think I used the ladder. Yeah, so we're going to have to back out of that. But you do get all of these notices that these are, they're all flooded, which is why it's like I've had these flooded buildings 10. So I'm really haven't been worried about it. This one, why did it do that? It shouldn't have done that. Surely that's not what I did. That's what it should have been. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it. So there's our paper. We've got paper mills coming in. Let's go ahead and fast forward. And yeah, we're just waiting on paper. This many beavers, and we are running through, like, my computer is starting to have some issues with the frame rates. There we go. I should have done that as lower. Let's... Congratulations, you mastered Folktale's nature-oriented ways and used this map's resources to build the faction's wonder. Having collected great wealth and knowledge, your beavers shared fruits of their labor with a suffering planet. There's still much to do, but Earth may flourish once again. So Flexible Start was unlocked. I did unlock the Iron Teeth. This was on the diorama build. That was what it looked like to begin with. Does not look like that anymore. Days past 2,159. Beavers born 14,403. That is a lot of water consumed. Tails painted 703. Trees cut 127,000. Teeth broken 37. Bots manufactured 41. Dynamite detonated 2,083. Beavers exploded 1. So yeah, with that, that is going to close out for this map. I'm still torn about which map, because I've got so many ideas. So let me know in the comments if I should do Iron Teeth or do another Folk Tales, and that'll kind of tell me which map I want to use, or I'll go with which map I want to do. Just for the sake of transparency, here is where I made the thumbnail for this, as well as the short that I also have on the channel. I went back into the save file after everything had been completed, so everything you saw in the time-lapse video was accurate. The only thing that I did was I went into the dev mode and just kind of made the backdrop just a little bit nicer so that it looked like everything was full in the pantry, because there was no way I was going to be able to get the pantry filled back out. And there you have the seeds going to repopulate the earth. So thank you for watching. Have an utterly fantastic day, and see you next time.
I walk my way down to the stream where the water flows along, to the little logs and branches to make our big dam strong.
Where the reservoir of water we can drink every day when the drought
start, then use the river's current, not working hard but smart.
Now Mother Nature's helping, wind power away, and with some steam we can use an engine wrecking E and Beaver Bay. Good morning, little beavers. Good morning, happy life. Let's build a big and mighty dam before the drought arrives. With plenty trees for chopping, we'll block the water's way. In the river bank, deep in this land, we're living here in Beaver Bay. Expanding our colony, the districts need some food. Carrots, bread and pastries are boosting our mood. Maple syrup on crackers, every beaver's a gourmet.